right. While we're getting set up, I'm welcoming you to this webinar. Note that the video will be recorded and available for those who can't make it, or for those who are on the line now and want to save it for later viewing, so we'll circulate that. Thank you to David Gard and the Michigan Energy Efficiency Contractors Association for organizing this webinar. Thank you also to Anna Maria Kowalik at Inland Green Capital, who will be presenting. My name is Bali Kumar, and I'm the CEO of Lean and Green Michigan, which is the statewide administrator of the PACE program in Michigan. PACE standing for Property Assessed Clean Energy, which is a financing mechanism that we will be discussing today. So without further ado, I will pass the show over to Anna Maria Kowalik at Inland Green Capital, who will explain the PACE program and explain her role in it.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for attending this webinar today. I'd like to thank David Gard and MEECA for this opportunity, along with Bali Kumar of Lean and Green Michigan. So we will have a question and answer period at the end of the webinar, and so feel free to type out any questions you might have in the chat box. Thank you. So Inland Green Capital is an environmental finance and investment company that provides capital for property assessed clean energy, the PACE program, for project initiatives nationwide. Okay, so we are part of the Inland Real Estate Group of Companies, which is one of the largest commercial real estate and finance groups in the country. We have over 50 years of experience and integrity in the industry, having been one of the first corporate, actually the first corporate Hall of Fame inductee by the Chicago Association of Realtors. Inland also has the distinction of being the 2009, 14, and 17 Better Business Bureau Torch Award winner for ethics in the marketplace. The Inland Real Estate Group of Companies has had the opportunity to have over $80 billion in transactions to date, with over $46 billion in investments and over $23 billion in capital raised. There are 732 different sponsored investment programs and millions of square feet of commercial property which are managed under our auspices in 49 of the 50 states. Inland Green Capital has been an active investor in PACE programs since 2012. We've invested in commercial and residential PACE projects with 12 separate program administrators in the states of California, Florida, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, and Wisconsin. We are an approved capital provider in numerous other states, including Michigan, and hope to be ramping up our business there very shortly. In fact, IGC has been involved in the startup of PACE programs in other states and has been the first capital provider here in the Illinois program, becoming involved in a partnership with the Illinois Energy Conservation Authority. I personally come from a 20-year background in property and asset management, and our company president, Mark Pikus, is a veteran in this burgeoning industry of almost 8 years, having financed some of the first deals with commercial and residential projects in the state of California at the inception of the PACE program nationwide, as well as acting as a consultant in the development of programs across the country. So now that you know all the players we have today, let's get to the reason that we're here And that's basically to answer two questions. What is PACE, and what does that mean for you as a contractor of energy efficiency projects? Well, in short form, Property Assessed Clean Energy is an innovative financing tool allowing for up to 100% financing of any energy efficiency or water conservation project or such components thereof as retrofit or new construction in a fixed rate long-term product that is secured by the property through the tax assessment structure. Very basically, a quick history of PACE nationwide is that it's a public-private partnership. The public portion being that tax structures vary differently from state to state, and so there was the necessity to enable legislation in order to make the programs functional. The private part of the partnership is basically private equity investment. And as you'll discover today through this seminar, this is a win-win proposition for all stakeholders. And so why are we here? Why have we invited you particularly? This program or product is a real value add for your client, which will allow you to get that project that has any energy efficiency associated with it to the finish line. And the rest of the webinar will explain just how we can get there. If you're participating by PC and you can view the webinar, you will see that we now have a map of participating Michigan jurisdictions up on the screen. And although PACE is prevalent in in much of Michigan, Bali and the LAGM are working very hard to get the benefits of PACE diffused within the state. So if you don't see a county where you might have a project, be sure to work with Lean & Green Michigan to get you there. Some fun facts about PACE in Michigan: 43 local governments have joined the program, representing 71% of Michigan's population, which live in these Lean & Green jurisdictions. And they are proud to present that they have issued $36 million worth of PACE projects in commercial PACE here in the state. Nationally, the 34 of 36 states in the union have enabled PACE, and more than 2,000 commercial projects have been launched in over $1.1 billion of financing, creating, actually I think it's closer or over 17,000 jobs. As far as PACE qualifiers, there are numerous projects that can qualify under PACE. HVAC replacements, roofing, building controls for both heat and cooling comfort and lighting, LED, and other fixtures, interior and exterior, that can all be related to a building control system. Solar and wind, renewable energies, geothermal, any kind of water conservation, interior and exterior, plumbing, faucetry, low flow units, as well as sensor controlled exterior landscape irrigation systems, insulation and building envelope, windows, doors, anything that can produce an energy savings for the property and show reduced utility expenses can qualify for PACE financing. In fact, the legislation in most states is written, and especially in Michigan, to allow, to be very broad and allow for new technologies that are constantly evolving in this sector of the industry. As far as eligible property types, Any commercial properties qualify in the typical 5 sectors: office, retail, industrial and manufacturing, agriculture can qualify under certain restrictions, and also multifamily. Any units of 5 or more can qualify as a commercial property as long as it's leased. And so condominium associations and HOAs are typically not allowable, although under certain particular circumstances, according to the particular state law, they may be. What is the process for PACE? Well, Inland Green Capital and other providers such as ourselves provide capital for up to 100% of the project costs for those energy efficiency components. Typically across the nation, funding is repaid through an assessment on the property only for a term of up to 25 years. Some states allow for up to 30. In the state of Michigan, a special assessment contract is entered into between the property owner and the lender, creating a property tax lien, but the reimbursement is payable directly by the owner to the property finance company. So it's kind of a circular motion, as you see here. The investor provides upfront financing to the property owner, who then repays it either on the tax bill or through the special assessment back to the investor. Property assessed clean energy, which is part of its name, refers to the debt instrument which is repaid through this tax lien. And so the energy project is repaid specifically in this manner. What that means is there's no money down. It's not a conventional lending product, and it produces immediate cash flow through the energy savings. An example that we have here is, let's say you have an energy efficiency project that costs $500,000. And the annual energy and maintenance expected savings would be $70,000 per year. So their simple payback term would be less than a quarter years here. And if you look at a short-term bank loan payback, you'll note that once you take into account your debt payments, your net savings are at a negative on an annual basis. Whereas under the PACE assessment payback, you've immediately put money into your pocket by using the total savings, the reduced debt payment, which you see in comparison to the short-term loan is half the amount, and is enhanced by the any of the incentives and the utility savings that are garnered as a result of the PACE financing. So in the Michigan PACE process, there are several steps that need to be taken. First and foremost, you contact Lean and Green Michigan, and they will assist in determining the eligibility of the project. There will be an initial energy analysis worked out, and financing recommended, where people can be put together with the appropriate parties, and the property owner can make a decision as to how they wish to proceed with the project. Eventually, an energy audit will have to be done on the scope of work, and lender consent will have to be provided. So the first lender, the mortgagor, on the property, would need to provide a consent on the tax lien that takes priority over the mortgage. However, the capital provider and LAGM can also assist with obtaining this consent. It can be a challenge to obtain consent, but in most cases, once we discuss with the lender the advantages of improving the collateral and the benefits of having PACE as a non-accelerating product, which we'll go into a little further in a few slides, there is typically no problem in obtaining the lender consent. So typically, PACE is used to substitute more expensive owner equity or mezzanine finance. It's a fixed-term, fixed-rate, longer-term product, which is typically for the life expectancy of whatever the installation is. It can be stacked with other incentives, so it doesn't replace them, but works directly in conjunction with historic tax credits, brownfield credits, utility incentives, and rebates or manufacturer rebates, and any other types of incentives, for example, the investment type tax credits that have been available for solar and recently renewed. PACE is practical for projects of $100,000 and greater, and the reason for that being that the fixed costs and fees for under that amount might not make as much sense for a small commercial property owner. Utility bills are typically $60,000 a year or greater, and the PACE amount must be less than 25% of the value of the property. So, for example, if you have a property valued at $1 million, potentially that property owner could receive up to $250,000 in PACE financing. So it makes a lot of sense for projects with simple paybacks of 5 years and longer. And there is no upper limit for PACE projects. So it can run up into the tens of millions of dollars, particularly on new construction projects. Now, Michigan's PACE Act allows for energy efficiency or water conservation projects and or renewable energy generating capacity. Typically, an energy savings guarantee is required over $250,000. So there would be a savings to investment ratio that would need to be met, and perhaps some ASHRAE level 2 or above energy audit and assessment. But the bottom line is that the statute is so broad and it leaves room to include all new technologies. So the sky is almost the limit on what can be available with energy efficiencies and savings under PACE. Now, the Lean and Green Michigan market has come up with a new program called PACE Express. So any PACE projects $250,000 and below do not have SIR and ESG requirements, and could be a cheaper, faster, and easier way if you go through their special application process, the application which is also copied here on screen. So do refer back to the Lean and Green Michigan website for further details. As far as new construction, basically, once again, we would ask that you contact LAGM directly for more information and guidance, as there would be higher qualifications to be met and energy and audit or assessment criteria as well. So why PACE? And I'm going to talk about PACE now from the varying stakeholders' perspectives. From a property owner perspective, no out-of-pocket money necessary, no upfront capital needed. The property owner as long as the property qualifies and meets all the loan to values, can get up to 100% financing for their project. It allows access to energy efficient technology that might have otherwise not been available to that commercial property owner. The energy savings themselves can increase a property's NOI and cash flow, and certainly the property's value. One of the main benefits of the PACE product as a tax lien is that, like a tax bill, it runs with the property and not with the property owner. So it is a non-recourse product and can potentially